Let's end the show like this. I want everyone to give a thought on First Strike as we approach the Open qualifiers. October 26th will be when NA begins, and Europe will kick off on November 9th. And remember, these will be regions across the world that will be vying to crown a regional champion. My quick thought is going to be, after First Strike, we will clamor more than ever for a world championship. And we will look at the Shanghai bubble, and everyone is going to compare it. And they're going to say, I wish the bubble happened here too. This is going to level up VALORANT Esports, just like the Ignition series did. And when all the regional champions are crowned, the first thing everyone's going to say is, we want those regional champions under one bubble roof, and we want them to compete against each other. And believe me, when it is safe to do so, that's going to be one of the biggest tournaments that you could possibly make in esports. So that's my thought on the First Strike tournament that's coming up. But let's go around the horn and give thoughts, whether it's a team to look out for, whether it's predictions, anything we want to say about it. Emily, let's start with you.
So I kind of brought up mine earlier because I'm always paying attention to meta things. I think the addition of Icebox and Sky is going to be massive. I think whoever does well in the first tournament and doesn't in the first qualifier but not well enough to move on has to perform in the second qualifier. I think the teams that get extra time with the new map and the new agent, it's going to make a massive impact on who gets through in this tournament. So I'm really, really curious to see how teams adapt to it. And I am curious to see how the length of time that various teams get. Because it's going to depend on how well you do in the first qualifier. Maybe you couldn't get into the first qualifier, so you can only go into the second. Obviously, this doesn't apply for major teams, but there's a non-zero chance that we see a team that just figures out Icebox and Sky before any other team does, and makes an insane run just based on meta alone. So I'm really curious to see if that happens, and that's what I'm looking for the most in this upcoming event.
Jacob.
We're ready for a world championship yet in Valorant. I think that we need a little bit more time for the scene to become more stable, particularly internationally outside of North America, from an investment perspective. I know that fans will clamor for it, but I think that Valorant it's in a really good spot. I think that it is growing both in player base. I think that Riot is starting to figure out its identity as a game more and more, and really hone in on what they want it to be as a game, more than just Counter-Strike Clone 2.0, as I said earlier in the show. And really pushing it forward as an esport too. I think that we would have had a much different year of Valorant if not for COVID-19, but I think given the circumstances, they've done better than most people in this circumstance. So I hats off to them. I think that we will. My big prediction here is that we will see some type of big international event, probably I would say summer 2021 would be my guess, because I think people will start being vaccinated for COVID, hopefully in April. Wide distribution, I think, has been what I've been reading and hearing from health experts. But yeah, I hope we get a summer 2021 event, and I think maybe by then the scene will be ready for one. But I don't think we're quite ready for a bubble repeat quite yet.
Tyler.
Clip it and ship it, Arda. Immortals will make the First Strike tournament with their Moneyball strategy, and it's going to open a lot of eyes to a lot of people in the esports world. I think this team has some really smart people behind it, with Gunba and Packing 10 from the Los Angeles Valiant, who showed that their Moneyball strategy can work there as well. I think the current scene is so topsy-turvy. We don't know who really are the best players outside of a select few. Shot Up, a player that kind of came out of nowhere on that Immortals team, looked like a 10th level player in his first event. There's a lot of just unknown talent, and I think Immortals have been the quickest to find it, with Dicey's Asuna, and now with players like Shot Up and Neptune. Immortals will make the First Strike tournament, and I want to see them versus 100 Thieves. Give me that matchup. Give me that sweet, sweet matchup. But Immortals makes First Strike. That's my prediction.
Give me all the First Strike action that will go down starting October 26th in NA. We can't wait. It goes all the way until December 3rd to 6th, when the regional champions will be crowned. And important to note as well that this is the first major Riot produced and focused event. So they are the ones that are presenting this to everybody, with third parties involved like Nerd Street Gamers that will be producing some of the events as an example. So this is going to be very interesting, perhaps a shifting of the parabola and an inflection point, if you will, of Valorant esports. That remains to be seen.